Welcome to day 3 at SES UK. We're in London. Are you enjoying it?
I am indeed, yeah.
Where are you? Are you from this area?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys have to get over because as one of the venues to travel to, I have to say that London is very special and this venue has been amazing, hasn't it?
It has indeed, yes.
Okay, so you've just gotten off your panel, which is Search, PR, and the Social Butterfly. Now, for everyone out there who hasn't been able to attend, tell us what your top tips, rundown of what you believe are the most important factors of your presentation today.
I think primarily that this is not really a PR story anymore. It's a mash-up between PR, search and customer service, and if you don't consider all three of those, you won't present yourself in the right way as an organisation. And the second is that in all the technical fighting with keywords, you can't forget that this is all about storytelling, and that's what people pass on. And if you're clever about social media, that's exactly what you'll do, is you'll start to tell stories to get people fired up, to want to talk about your campaign, be motivated to pass the information on.
That's incredible advice, and in fact that's echoed in Lee Alden's presentation yesterday on content marketing optimization, because he gave a very good soundbite, which is facts tell, stories sell.
Yes.
So you really can't get better than that. And the first piece of advice you gave is amazing as well. It's no longer about siloed channels of operating. It's actually a completely integrated effort, because when we work in this industry internally, we tend to see all of the different individual elements that need to be tackled. Your customer sees one brand.
Yes, absolutely. A single customer view, absolutely essential. And this is really hard for companies to deal with, particularly large organisations who often operate in those silos or operate in functions. And as its first step, and I recommended to a delegate here today, which is you really need to get those people around the table and start talking to each other. So you need your digital to talk to your e-commerce, and your web analytics to talk to your SEO, and your SEO to talk to your PR, and your PR to talk to your above-the-line agency. So, together, those departments and those agencies need to work together to make your social work.
That's a really good point, and I tend to call roundtable meetings all agency roundtable meetings, where we sit and plan editorial strategies based on ultimately the search strategy, because it's all about visibility. But do you have any further advice? We do a strand here at SES on getting your marketing team and your SEO team or your IT team talking, and it's always really popular. I'm always quite amazed by how many people actually attend that session, because it seems quite difficult thing to nail down. Do you have any tips for how to get people who are in big organizations with cross-functional, cross-departmental teams talking? Because, social's about PR, marcoms, sales, customer service, everything. What are your top tips?
There's two, which is one, you need to help people understand the language of their counterparts in other divisions, because we don't always speak the same language. And the second is top down, top down, top down. The CEO, the MD, the directors, the board have to be part of this. If you don't, it becomes an endless struggle. So seniority counts if you want to make it work. I
absolutely agree. Kick it up the chain and get the best response that you can. And in fact, that often tackles this grand issue of Massimo Bergio covered it earlier. He threw loads of logos of all the social platforms up and said, this is what's going to happen with your corporate feedback. No, 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 no. What tips do you have other than, as you say, approaching the C-suite level, which can be difficult and time-consuming, to actually enable social marketing and PR marketing to merge?
Then it falls to education. It really does. It is exactly that, the round table, and then constantly educating, whether or not you standing up in the canteen, giving 30 minutes on something, how to manage your Facebook privacy. You need to be very clever. It requires evangelists and catalysts within the organisation. It doesn't work otherwise. Okay,
now, final question in terms of management. We've covered, resource. We've covered making sure that it's covered effectively. We've covered, some of the more change management issues of dealing with how social has affected organizations. I want to know about how we're going to make money and how we're going to track it.
But that's the all-important one. There are still numbers of workarounds. For instance, not everything is searchable. You can't put lovely links into everything that are deep links, and not everybody will allow you to have follows from those links. So it becomes very complex. And if you work, as we do, with a lot of organisations who also have to combat in-store footfall, you have to do that awful thing that all the other industries within marketing have to do, which is correlation graphing, econometrics, to kind of work out that roughly this is impacting your return on investment. But this is how advertising has worked for years, so it's not a surprise. It is much more complicated, and it is about getting all those departments to work together. So it's not just doing some Facebook work, but making sure you check your analytics to see whether or not the activity you're doing on Facebook is having an impact on your traffic to your site.
Attribution has always been a traditional real issue, as Greg Jarboe highlighted with PR, the metrics, the EVA metrics, all of that kind of measurement of success. And obviously that has in some ways affected the legitimacy of social media as a marketing channel previously. We're starting to see, obviously with clever digital marketers, the ability to track and trace and analyze and, as you say, correlation graphing. Check it out, big words from Katie Howell. Do you think mobile is going to help close that gap? Because, obviously people are, accessing and purchasing, and now that near-field communication has come in, how do you think that's going to affect that whole closed loop?
I fear it won't help. It'll just add to the noise, and that's the biggest problem. Is that lots of these technologies don't work together. I mean, we've been fighting it out to get a particular web analytics solution to open up its API so we can drag the data into another dashboard. It's not open at the moment. So there is a lot of technology movement that needs to happen to make sure that your analytics will talk to your mobile analytics, which will be built on a completely different platform and won't report in the same way. And so getting all those ducks in a row is getting more and more complicated. It will happen. We're an evolving industry. We're growing as fast as we can. We've got lots of super clever people working on this stuff. It'll happen.
I'm amazed. I'm honored to meet you, actually. Kicking it with Katie Howell from Immediate Future. Day 3, SES UK. Make sure you come next time. Bye-bye.